Good morning, YouTubers. This is the 4th of July, year 2020, and I've got some good news for you today. I have picked some of my vegetables out of my vegetable garden, and I'm going to be cooking them over the 4th of July weekend. So if you remember, I started most of my garden on Mother's Day weekend. My son and I planted a Mother's Day garden, and that puts into perspective about how many weeks it's taken for some of my plants to yield some crops. So without further ado, let's see what we got going on. So this morning I've picked 2 tomatoes. These are both of my heirloom tomatoes. I've picked one of my crookneck squash. I've picked 2 of my golden 2-pick squash. I've picked 2 of my bell peppers and one of the smaller peppers here. It's this about the size that it grows. They're really little here. So that's pretty exciting. Now as we get a closer look, you can see the golden 2-pick squash, how it's coming up. See some in there. Now, this is one of my heirloom tomatoes. It's growing all over the place. This tomato cage didn't do anything. And if you see, I've got a lot of them. 2 there, 1 there, 2 here. I've got about 3 clustered there. I've got 2 more at the bottom there, 2 more there. So that heirloom tomato's doing really, really good. And I've got some babies that are growing right there. Now this is my red beefsteak tomato plant. I've got several tomatoes growing in there as well. I probably got about 10 to 12 tomatoes on this red beefsteak tomato plant already. Now check out my cabbage. I'm really excited about it. It's still a baby, but look, it's got a head on it. It's a small head, small little Cabbage Patch head, but I am so impressed at looking how that cabbage has really grown. And right next to my cabbage, remember I started my container garden of potatoes? Look at this. This is the container, and look how tall these tomato plants have gotten. Now, they're not quite ready to pull out the ground yet, but here's a good indication that they'll be getting ready soon. You see they're starting to have flowers on there? That's always a good indication that your potatoes will be ready to pick soon once you start getting the flowers. I've got some flowers here too. Now, I want you to take a good look at the size of the leaves on my squash plant, and let me put it into perspective. Here is my hand. Do you see how much bigger it is? That's amazing. All right, this is some of my crookneck squash. Now, one thing I love about squash is the beautiful flowers. Look how beautiful that flower is. 2 of them there. And they have so much pollen on the inside of them. If you get lucky enough, you can actually attract some bees. Now, my cucumber, it's meh. That's about the best way I can describe it. I mean, I've got a cucumber there and a flower. I've got a cucumber here, a cucumber there. I've got a cucumber here. I've got a cucumber here. You know, I've got several cucumbers. One here. And look at this vine here. Look at the cucumbers that are growing on that vine. Those are beautiful. However, I'm not so sure how well they're doing. But we'll keep an eye out on them. Now, one thing that's good to do, you know, these little dead leaves, they're not doing your plant any good. You take those dead leaves off. Now, you see some of the leaves that are browning and yellowing on my tomato plant here. Or even I've got one in here that, oh look, it just came right off. It's dead. I'm going to go ahead and prune this tomato plant this morning, and let me show you what I come up with. These are all of the little leaves, and vines that I've taken off my potato plant, my tomato plant, they weren't doing the tomato plant any good. Okay, as you can see, it's growing really good on its own, but we'll just go ahead and take those off. Anyhow, we'll check back in a couple of weeks, you guys. Hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe.